All right. So, welcome to week 3. We are going to go over tax deductions as well as the credits. There is a lot because we're going to go over the standard deductions, the itemized deductions, the common deductions, as far as like your home mortgage, your interest, your medical expenses, your donations. Like, we're going to go over everything. I was gonna do some case studies, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and hold that off until next week. Because next week I'm going to go through the next week we're just doing straight software. And we're gonna go over everything that we went over for the last 4 years. So I mean the last 4 weeks. So um I'm gonna skip over the case study part. Because you also have case studies in your self-paced things. So I'm not gonna hit y'all with no case studies next week. We're just gonna do straight software. Um, so I'm gonna just skip that. And I'm gonna also skip the calculation exercises because that's gonna fall into with us being on the software. Because this one is so large as far as information wise, I don't want to hold y'all more hostage than what I should. And plus, I still got to knock some homework out before I take my butt to bed to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So, to make both of our lives easily and don't feel like I'm holding y'all hostage, I'm going to hold those off until next week. So, we'll just all do all of it at once. All right. So, your 3 deductions are standard deductions, itemized deductions, and then your common deductions and your eligibility. All right, standard deduction is a fixed dollar amount that reduces the amount of income on which you are taxed. It is available to all taxpayers who do not choose to itemize their deductions on their tax returns. The amount of standard deduction varies depending on the filing status, age, and whether you are blind. Here are the details to look at your standard deduction amounts as for tax year 2023. They do tend to change a lot. I should know if it's changed by November, December. All right, so single married filing separately, excuse me. Their amounts are 13,850. So that is the amount that they get applied to their tax return automatically. Your standard deduction is automatically added to your tax return. You don't have to click anything, you don't have to do anything. Well, as far as in this software, you don't have to do anything. If you were doing it by hand, then you would do it by hand with the 13,850. Married filing jointly or qualifying widower, theirs is 27,700. Then you have your head of household, they are at 20,800. These are their numbers. They're their standard numbers. I can't explain how they came up with these amounts, but those are the amounts that they're willing to give us to get us out of a hole if we do owe any type of liability that does help keep us from having to owe so much. All right, so your additional standard deduction, addition to for age or blindness, taxpayers who are 65 or older or blind are eligible for an additional standard deduction amount. These additional amounts are added to the standard deduction for their filing status. So say if they're single, head of household, they get an additional 1,850 for each condition, age or blindness. If it's married, filing jointly or separately or qualifying widower, it is an additional 1,500 for each condition, age, or blindness. So, for example, a single taxpayer who is both 65 or older and blind will add 3,700, which is the 185.50, excuse me, the 1,850 times 2 to their standard deduction. But again, that's if we're doing it by hand. And since we don't do it by hand, the computer will calculate all those lovely numbers for us. But you also want to be able to read a 1040. And we'll go through that next week when we put a return in together. All right, so you have your importance of the standard deduction, simplicity. The standard deduction simplifies the tax filing process as taxpayers do not need to list every deductible expenses. Therefore, The standard deduction amount helps determine whether he or she, I didn't add words, y'all don't pay me no attention, whether he or she is required to file the tax return. If your income is below the standard deduction for your filing status, then genuinely are not required to file. Choosing the standard deduction can be beneficial if you itemize deductions are less than your standard deduction amount. Don't ask why I did that. I sat here and wrote all of this between yesterday and today. I know what it said, but I just added words. Don't know. Probably tired. All right. Deciding between your standard and your itemized. Choose between taking the standard deduction or itemizing their deductions, such as the mortgage interest, charitable contributions, the donations, and medical expenses on Schedule A of their tax return. You should compare both options. Choose one that provides a greater tax benefit. For me, for my individuals, say if I know that they are somebody that goes to church faithfully, and they're always contributing to the church, somebody that recently just had some type of surgery done, and I know that they had to pay out of pocket, they had to have some equipment done, have medication. I'll ask those questions to see if the amounts that they had to come out of pocket will be greater than their standard deduction. Because even with your medical, if you can calculate the distance, say if you had to go, so we're here in Richmond, so it doesn't really help us. But say if we had a client that is in Norfolk or Portsmouth, but they have to come here to VCU. The mileage from their home all the way to VCU, every time that they have to come back and forth, they can actually put that on their tax return up under medical. So they can put that they drove 10,000 miles throughout the year just for their medical. That's going to help get them out the hole. For example, understanding the standard deduction and how it applies to your situation can impact your tax liability and the overall simplicity of your tax filing purpose. Single taxpayer example, a single taxpayer with no additional deductions will have a standard deduction of $13,850. If a taxpayer is 70 years or older, the standard deduction increases by $1,850, totaling $15,700. Married couple, theirs is $27,700. And if one spouse is 66 and the other is 67, their standard deduction increases by $3,000, which puts them at $30,700. I moved my screens around and confused myself. Okay, there you go. All right, so I couldn't find a chart that I like to put on here, so I made a chart. So if you was to find the chart, just telling you what the deductions are, this is basically what we just went over as far as the single, married filing separately, they're at $13,850, and then they either get an additional $1,850 if they're blind or they're over the age of 65. Same thing with the married filing jointly and the qualifying widower, Lord have mercy, and the head of household. All right, standard deduction. I copied the screen twice. Skip. All right, there we go. Itemized deductions. All right, itemized deductions are specified expenses allowed by the IRS that taxpayers can subtract from their adjusted gross income to reduce their tax income. Unlike standard, which is a fixed amount based on the filing status, itemized deductions vary based on the individual's expenses. So, tax relief. They reduce the tax income for individuals who incur significant expenses in certain categories. Did I write down the category? I'm going to give y'all that. I really don't think I did it. The acknowledgement that some taxpayers have higher necessary living costs or contributions such as medical expenses, donations, and provide a tax benefit for those outlays. Encouragement. Why did I put that there? All right. I don't know why I put this right here, but anyway, if you pay real estate taxes, if you pay personal property taxes, you can actually put those on your tax return as well. Let's see, you got your real estate taxes throughout the year. You pay personal property twice a year. That's for anything that you pay personal property for. And then it's your medical care. Why did I split it up like that? My apology, y'all. I be tripping sometimes. All right, there we go. I didn't think I listed them for y'all. Medical dental expenses, you guys, 7.5% of the gross income. It should not extend. I'll show y'all that inside of the system as well. And I'll explain to y'all that itemized deduction actually does not affect the way your AGI looks, like some other expenses that you have to write off, but you want it to make sense. So say your client tells you that they spent about 20,000 between the doctor, their medical premiums, the nurses that they needed, the medication. Just say they just spent way over 20. Do I want to say 20,000? 20, let's say 25,000. So they spent way over that. But when you look at their AGI, they only made like 30,000 throughout the year. Make it make sense. So always pay attention to like what your client gives you, because a lot of times them clients are aware that the bigger amount that they give you, the less that they have to pay back and the more they get put in their pocket. They will try to play you. So try to pay attention to those little things. Like I had one client, he's a small business owner. I know darn well because I've been helping him with his business because he's also my bookkeeping client. This man put on his tax return that he only made 50,000. Sir. So like I said, they'll try to play you like you don't know what's going on. He thinks I'm gonna send it off like that, and I'm not. We're gonna get these numbers correct because at the end of the day, if you have somebody that's a true business owner, there's no time for your numbers to be off. If your numbers are off, it can mess up you getting any type of loan. It can mess up them getting any type of loans, any type of credit for their business. It can mess up many, many things. And you definitely don't want to play with things like that, especially if that's your livelihood. But enough of that. All right, so then you have your state and local taxes. Those, again, that really comes into where you talk about your property taxes and your real estate taxes. Those are your state and local. And if you are a small business owner that sells actual product or services in your state and you have your business registered, then you'll fall up on the state taxes as well. So that will be added to that part. Your mortgage interest, that is I want to say it's a 1099, but I can't think of which one it is. But if you pay mortgage, you'll get a 1099 sheet for that one. That will play in part with your real estate taxes. If you are paying mortgage, then you have your donations. Typically, like I said, you got to watch how your numbers play out. A lot of times you have churches or nonprofit organizations that would give them a sheet at the end of the year, especially if they're contributing to them all throughout the year. They'll give them a sheet with the dates that they contribute, how much they contribute, or they'll give them a little card saying, hey, you contribute this much on this day. But it's your client's responsibility to get that information to you so you can put it into the system. Death and losses. I personally have not dealt with this one just yet because this is more like declare of a disaster. Only time I seen anything that was asking about disaster when we all was going through COVID. So I really don't know how that one will play out in our tax return, but we'll definitely, I'll keep an eye out for it in the system. I'll probably look for it after I get off of here, so we can see if we can find it. Now, let y'all know, a lot of my information comes from my tax books. I have tax books through Liberty. That's where I learned everything I got from. So it's not something that I'm just finding out of anywhere and pulling out the air. Is I'm giving y'all the information that's given to me, so y'all have the same information that I have. Doesn't mean I know everything. I just know what they gave me, and the fact that they actually do like training every year, and I'm going to actually go train with them in November. Um, just because I need to know what information the IRS is letting go or putting out, because I'm not going to none of those meetings this year. A waste of money to me. And then you have your miscellaneous deductions. There is a section where you can, like, if your job wants you to move somewhere, if your job asks you to come out of pocket for like anything in order to get your business, well, get their business running, or to do the job that they need you to do, you can turn around and write that back off. All right, benefits of the deduction, you got your tax savings, which lowers your taxable income, reflecting to true expenses. It allows the taxpayer to account for high deductible expenses accordingly, especially if they are substantial medical costs, mortgage interest, or donations. The drawbacks of this is the complicity requirements, detailed record keeping, and additional paperwork. It is time consuming because, like I said, you have to have all of that information in order for this to work out to be over the standard deduction amount for that specific client. When you itemize the higher than standard deduction, itemize your total. Why did that read like that? That was like repeating every word. Anyway, um, standard deduction has to exceed the standard. The itemized deduction has to exceed the standard deduction for your filing status. High medical expenses has to suppress the AGI by 7.5%. Then you have your mortgage interest and your donations. Then you have your state and local, which can close to or exceed exceed 10,000 cap. All right, standard deduction amounts, we went over those. I just explained all that, how to itemize it, to gather the documentations, complete the Schedule A, which is automatically done in the system. This is you're doing it by paper. So example, let's assume that the taxpayer Alex has the following deductible expenses, and medical expenses are 10,000. His AGI is 50,000. State and local taxes is 8,000. Mortgage interest is 9,000, and he's only donated 3,000. All right, how you calculate it for him? So you got 10 minus 7.5%, and like I said, y'all can go back over this and look at it. I'm not even gonna go over the math parts because again, the computer does it for you, but you still want to know what you're looking at. So I'm not about to waste your time going through that part. No, we got too many slides to go through all that. All right. All right, so your medical and dental, you have your doctor, your dentist visits, you have your hospital care, you have your medication, you have any equipment, and your health insurance premiums. Not qualified if you had your body done, in any type of way, if you had your teeth done in any type of way. Your gym membership does not count. And the only way you can do over the counter medication if it is prescribed to you. All right. So now with your state and local income taxes or state and local sales taxes, but not both. So like I was saying, if you are doing your personal property taxes and your real estate taxes, that's one thing. And then you're a small business owner, most of the time you do not own the property, then you'll do your sales taxes. You have your real estate, your personal property. Then you have your mortgage interest, the loan on your house. You'll get a sheet for that from the um, loan office, the mortgage loan place. All right. Then you have your qualifying organizations. You have your religious, your educational. Then you have your public charities. You have your cash donation, your non-cash. When they say non-cash, they're talking about clothing, household goods, vehicles that are fair market deductible. You can write off your vehicle. Say if you just bought a car this year, you can actually write off your vehicle for between 3 to 5 years. You can write your vehicle off. But again, your numbers have to make sense. So you can't say that you bought a $20,000 car, but all you made was 10,000 throughout the year. It ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. Where'd I leave off at? All right, so this is the theft one and the losses, the casualty losses. So say if you have fires, floods, storms, disaster areas, location, the loss has been federal declared disaster. So I'm guessing these are for the ones that are like not being funny, but the ones that we see on TV where they be like, oh, hurricane, I don't know who we on right now. Let's just say Esther took a whole town out. They can use that one. But again, I have to find it in the system because I have not ran across that one myself. All right, so this is your student loan. You'll get a 1098-T for anything that is student loan wise. Any other information that you need on that one will be on that one. The investment interest, that was most likely going to be your 1099 interest, your 1099 DIV. It can also be your 1099. Man, it just left my brain. But it's the one for our individuals that trade stocks, and I cannot think of which sheet that is right now, but it's gonna come to me. But that's what the investment one is for. A lot of times that one is a 1099-B. That one is broker. That one is confusing if you do not know how to read those sheets. I had a couple of ladies this year that was just lost because that's one 1099 that is not easy to read at all. But that's what that one is for. All right, educator expenses. There is a spot in the system for our teachers, for them to be able to write off any of the supplies that they had to bring for the school. Obviously they don't get a whole lot, but they get up to 300 per year to be able to write off. Then you have your retirement, which is a 1099-R. A lot of times they can hurt our client or they can help our client, especially if they have taken out of their 401k. If they taken out their 401k, there's a good chance they're going to owe a nice amount of money, because a lot of times when they take out their 401k, they don't let them take taxes out. They want all the money right then and there. And so If they took out a good 10,000, 15,000, guess what? That's gonna hurt them during tax time. And now you gotta either help them figure out how to get out this hole, or they're gonna have to pay them taxes on that money that they got real early. But it's a gamble that they have to go for, because you never know. They might have been in a situation where they needed it. So, but that's what your 1099-R is. And now gambling losses, that one is our lovely individuals that go to Virginia Lottery downtown. They get this lovely paper that is a 299G. And it's going to tell us where they won the money at. You'll see Rosie's, you'll see Virginia Lottery. I ain't seen nobody else on there, but that's what that paper is. And it's going, like I said, it's either it's going to hurt them or they're going to be all right. Depends if they paid any taxes on it. Or it also depends on how much they made. I had a couple that brought me like 4 sheets from them gambling. And I had to find out what's the lowest that I could go that I didn't have to claim, because they was about to be in a hole. Seriously in a hole. And I didn't want to go through the whole headache of trying to figure out how to get them out of it. All right, so y'all have 2 sets of these, because I had to split them up between itemizing, between the deductions and the credits. So this lovely quiz time is based on y'all's deductions. All right, for the tax year 2023, what is the standard deduction amount for a married couple filing jointly? Y'all don't have to raise your hands. Y'all can just come off mute.
D.
Thank you, ma'am. Why did I put B? It's D. So why did I put B? I don't know. I had to be half asleep when I did this, but it's D, baby. You're right. I don't know. Go on to the next one. And this one ain't even, you know what? Yeah. This week was a hard week, y'all. I had a lot of different things going on in personal stuff. All right. We already see the answer, but it is, what is the standard deduction amount for a single filing person for the year 2023? All right. So as we know, it is 12,950. And these numbers are off. Yeah, we're gonna review all of this. We're gonna review all this on next week.
Okay.
Because those numbers are off. Yeah, it's I don't, when I do y'all slides, I do them in sections. And I don't have everything memorized. Like I said, I'm not an expert, but I didn't realize it was off like that. So I'm gonna make sure y'all get the right information. Which of the following followers is eligible for an additional standard deduction in 2023 due to the age or blindness? Why is it? It's all of them. I'm cheating, y'all. Where one is spouse is 65 or older. Yeah, we're gonna run this back later. For the tax years. 1.3. Yeah, that just means I need to stop doing these darn things when I'm halfway asleep. All right, so credits. Tax income, tax credits, basically your EITC, your child tax credit, and your educational credit. I gotta get this together. All right, earned income credits. Basically, is either you apply for it, you are eligible to get that extra little money that they're gonna give to you, or you not. It depends on how much you made throughout the year if you get an earned income credit. Not even going to go through reading all that. It depends on your income that you made throughout the whole year. Depends on what you made and how many people that you care for determines if you earn that income tax credit. So you have those individuals that can have it that are single with no kids, but it also depends if that single individual with no kids, what they made throughout the year, if they're over the age of 24, as well as if they paid any taxes, if they see a credit added to them or not. A lot of times as tax preparers, I'm not y'all walking into the game anyway, so just gonna tell y'all a little something and I'm just gonna jump back and we're gonna go back to this. As tax preparers, we pay attention to this because a lot of times we need you to get that extra income, that extra credit in order for us to get paid. Because if they don't have that extra credit, there's a good chance that we ain't getting paid. So we're gonna ask 50 million questions to see how we can write off something in order to get your income down close enough to this number so we can get that earned income credit added on there. Use it at will. Just letting you know that's what a lot of the tax preparers do, especially the ones that I have ran across. Let's put it like that. A lot of them do that just so they can make sure they get paid and the client gets something, they get something. But these are your maximum numbers as far as how things go. They, even though like with this one right here, jointly with 3 or more children, even though that it has more children, it doesn't change this amount, which we'll go over the child tax credit when we get there. You're not getting no more credit for 3 children. That's the max. It's not like when we had COVID and they got credit for each child. The credit limit is up to 3. It doesn't matter how many kids they have. Determines on your filing status, on what you get, your dependents, your wages, your salary, your tips, Social Security, unemployment, alimony, and your qualifying children. Age requirements. So like I was saying with the single individuals, they have to be older than 24 in order to get this. Younger than 65, they have to have a social. An investment income extending over 11,000 is not eligible. All right. Your maximum earned income credits for no children, 600, 1 child, just say 4,000, 2 children. 2 children, you have 6,604, and you have 3 or more children, which is 7,430. All right, claiming it. Of course, you got to file your return, complete your earned income credit sheet. And then if you need assistance, there is assistance available. I have all the phone numbers that we need pinned in the group. So even if you take the time out to print out your training guide, just write the numbers somewhere so you can have them, or even save them in your phone, just so you can have them when time comes and you're not searching for them. Because they might get lost, they might not get lost. I don't know how long the lifespan is on this group me. So I don't know, you know how sometimes things start deleting stuff after a certain amount of time. I don't know how long it's going to stay up there. All right, so you got your benefits and impact. You got your financial support. It provides significant financial assistance to eligible low and moderate income workers, helping to reduce poverty and increase disposable income. We can agree to disagree with that one. It helps and doesn't help. Depends on how you look at the whole situation. It encourages employment and supports working families. And then it says that it's an economic boost to spend their refunds, which, as y'all know, every year you got that salesman on TV right before tax season hit. They're telling you, oh, you can bring your last W-2 to us and we can get you in a brand new car. They do it to us every year. And a lot of them will fall for it because they need a car. And they'll do anything just to be able to have something, even though they're gonna put themselves in risk. All right, so you got your child tax credits. It has to be a qualifying child over and under the age of 18. Now, the tax credit will change depending on the age of the child. So the qualifying children requirements, of course, you have to be under the age of 18. The child has to be all those different requirements that I tell y'all about your dependents. Is either it has to be the taxpayer's son, daughter, stepchild, eligible foster child, sibling, step sibling, half sibling, or even the grandchild. You have to provide more than half of the year of support. It has to live with you. Has to be a citizen. It has to have a social security number. All right. So with this one, and I want to say, and I don't have my book in front of me. I want to say this one was it cannot max out above these numbers, but we're a lot of times we're not even going to see our clients bring this much. I think the client that I've seen with the most that was close to this one, it was a married couple. They were at 180,000. I don't think that is correct. I don't even have my book in front of me. Yeah, I'm gonna have to come back and redo all this with y'all. We'll talk about this on week 4. This was a stressful week. So my apologies, lady, because this is all chopped up. Of course, you have your requirements of filing statuses is either single, married, filing jointly, head of household, or qualifying widower. Man, this is a mess. Yeah, I don't like none of these. Definitely am not doing any more tests. Halfway sleep. So I'll send y'all these spreads, these slides. But what I'm gonna do, because I don't want to keep fooling with this, I'm just gonna go to the software. But I done made myself mad. Because y'all don't understand. I be up like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning messing with this stuff. So I'm going to the software and we're just gonna put in a tax return. All right, can y'all see my screen?
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Dolly. So this is what y'all screen would look like. Y'all just will not have anything below client search. So y'all wouldn't see any of that. So when you go in, because this is the actual software, you're gonna go in, you'll put in, you know what? Well, you put in the social security number, but if I'm not mistaken, because I just had everything moved over, if I'm not mistaken, I have a client here that has kids and went to school. As soon as I can get this to open. Look at this, Chris Chapman. No, that's not it. All right. Why are you doing this? Okay. All right. So when you first start, of course, you're going to start with your filing status. So all of yours are going to have guides on them. So it's going to walk you through it. If you're not too sure what her filing status is, all right, so this is not the one with the kid, but we'll go through it. If you're still not sure what their filing status is, like you're still struggling with the understanding of them, you can always go to the filing wizard. It's going to ask you certain questions to tell you exactly what information in. This right here, so it says that the taxpayer can be claimed as a dependent. So just say if you had a high school kid or you had a college student that their parents are still able to claim them, but they made over $4,000 or even more than that, they have to be claimed as a dependent because of course the parents are still taking care of them half of the year. Same thing with the full student eligible. So make sure you click both of those. If you have a client that is blind, of course, make sure you click there. I don't know if I remember telling y'all or not, but my child's father worked under the table, but she was able to claim her dad because her dad didn't have any W-2s to file. So she claimed him on her taxes this year. But make sure, like when we get to the dependents, it'll have a spot here if the dependent is blind or deceased. I have never done this, and I don't know too many people that want to contribute $3 to the president election campaign, but it's on there. That's if you have your military person. This right here, I believe, is what we were talking about earlier. Like I said, I've never paid attention to it because I've never had to deal with it. This part right here is you have somebody that is selling Bitcoins, or that's how they make their money, comes through Bitcoins. I'm just using that one as an example. That can also be for Forex and different ones of that nature. This right here will be more of your clients that are Spanish, Arabic. They rather have their information in their own personal language. You can have it change. Just have to let them know what their language is once you click it. Then, of course, you're putting in their address, their phone number. When you put their email in, it's going to populate here. Don't send them the invite yet. And I'm saying don't send them the invite yet because if you send them the invite and you're not even done with the return, they're going to be hitting you up asking you, hey, I got this invite. What do you need me to do? I don't need you to do anything. Just wait. I'll reach back out to you. So instead of having them stop you in the middle of what you're doing, or maybe you didn't even get a chance to finish just yet, don't send it to them yet. Then depending on what state they're in, trying to figure out why this came over in a negative because I know I got her back a refund. Anyway, you'll just pick whatever state or county, whatever county or city that they're in. And then you'll mention if they filed taxes last year. I personally have never had to do this part right here, so I always skip over it. But let me do something so it will let us keep going. And like I said, you have your dependents. So I've never had to put in a birth certificate, but I explained to y'all about the actual death certificate. That's what my daughter had to put in for her daddy. Medical records, I didn't have to do that either. So what I'm gathering, when I was asking about those two situations, those two options, that's if the infant does not have a social just yet. So you'll use their birth certificate if you got the birth, if they end up getting the birth certificate back first. If not, and they have just the medical records, the hospital records, then you can use that. Because sometimes, I guess for those of us that have babies, it takes them a minute to get us that information. So it gives us those options, especially if you have the baby December the 31st. You're probably not going to get none of that paperwork or information until probably April, May, depending on how fast they want to move in bios. Then you have your personal identification number. So with a personal identification number, a lot of clients end up getting this number around COVID time because there was a lot of scandalous things done during COVID time where individuals filing for tax returns that were actually not filing for tax returns. And the money was being sent to other places. A lot of people came out the woodworks that have not filed in years or have never filed at all or have never worked at all. They were coming out the woodworks and filing. And I was one of those taxpayers. I'm not even gonna lie. I was one of those taxpayers. Oh, you sell dope? Oh, okay. So that's how I was taught. I didn't know. I didn't know. But I mean, that's a lot of reason why a lot of people have PIN numbers now. So I had to relearn the correct way and get off from under that person that was showing me the wrong way, so I can keep my money flowing. Because you ain't gonna make no money if you keep doing underhanded stuff like that. It's gonna bite you in your tail after a while. All right, so then we have her W-2. I'm just trying to remember why she is in a hole, and I know I got her some money back. All right, so you have your wages. Like on the W-2, they're gonna tell you this was her wages, but then it automatically populates this amount in 3 and 5. But you have to pay attention to your W-2 because, as you can see, 3 and 5 are different than 1. But if you mess around and you let it stay like that, it could possibly delay their refund. But which shows the reason why she's in a hole. I know I took her out the hole, so now I'm trying to figure out why did it come back like that. But she did good when it came to state. Still ain't 10%, but she did a whole lot better. So then we have Schedule C. Schedule C is for your small business. Her Schedule C didn't come over. I knew it was something. All right, I'm not logging into that other software because this is a headache. And she's already been transmitted, so I'm just going to put a number in. So let's just say that, let's say she made 14 throughout the year. Of course, it's going to add to her AGI, which shot her AGI up, which made her owe more in state and federal because we gave her more income that had not been taxed just yet. So then we'll go into her general expenses. So we're saying that she's an educator, say she's a private tutor. So of course she's going to do a little bit of advertisement. We don't want to say she did a whole lot because she still has to be able to eat, and she's only doing tutoring. So a lot of times you don't have to pay for a lot of that actual advertisement because she can go to the schools, she can go to the grocery store, she can go to the gas stations, and she can go put flyers up. She doesn't actually have to do a whole lot of stuff on social media, because at the end of the day, we're not gonna be funny. We go on social media, we're not looking for no tutor. We're not looking for nothing educational. We looking for something to laugh at, talk about, maybe something as far as like business wise. Other than that, we ain't looking for nothing like that. So we're not gonna say she spent a whole lot of money there. But we are gonna say that she does have liability insurance, because she is going to go deal with other individuals. She might be going to their home. She might be meeting them somewhere. Things happen. How I look at it like this: if you're tutoring somebody else's child, they fall or they get sick. Mom is about to go ballistic on you. You got to put some type of coverage over yourself so you don't hurt yourself, because with this insurance, it can keep them from suing you. They can sue you still, but the insurance is going to help pay for some of that. It's going to take some of that headache off of you. Then you have your medical and professional. Just say she had to pay for one of her classes, her certificates. She has an office that she goes
What
to.
food I must have?
You said you
Ebony, put yourself on
Y'all
mute.
missing a plate, so you missing a plate. Make sure you put your motherfucking
Ebony.
shoes on. I got you, so I got you.
So let's say that, what else do I want to do? She got her office expenses. I said that backwards. Her office expenses should say she bought her a computer, she bought notebooks, she bought pens, paper, she bought everything she needed in order to do the tutoring with them. Da da da. Let's say, and we don't want to say it was that much, because who is spending that much on somebody else's baby? Ain't even being funny, but I know I'm not. But we are going to say she rented an office. She doesn't need repairs on anything. Say if she needs supplies, that's just like food, snacks, things of that nature. She is paying a little bit of the taxes. Her traveling expenses, there's not a whole lot for that part. She takes the kids out to eat. We're gonna put about right there. So we're gonna say those were her expenses for her growing business. So then we're gonna also say she drives. So we're gonna give her a vehicle. We're gonna say that she started this sometime in February. Then we're gonna say the mileage that she does. I'm not gonna give her a whole lot. Just say she did about 3,000 throughout the whole year. She has evidence for this. And yes, it is in written. And then we're gonna go here. We're gonna go to other expenses. So with other expenses, I usually use myself personally. I usually use this one if they had to do any type of training. If they had to do any type of training, as well as their cell phone expenses. So the reason why I mostly use the cell phone, because that's where that a lot of times nowadays, that's what we use to make our business. Granted, yeah, we might make personal calls on it, but 9 out of 10, I promise you, I do more business on my phone than I do talk to people. I just, my phone is my tablet basically when I don't want to take my tablet nowhere. So I usually do the cell phones as far as their other expenses, because technically it does not fall under utilities, because when it comes to utilities, they're looking for your water, your gas, and your electricity. They're not looking for a cell phone. Even though technically it's a telephone, it falls in a different category with them. So we're going to say out the year, she did 1,681. as far as her phone bill, because we don't want to say the whole phone bill went to the business because we know that's a story. And then we're going to come out. So we brought her liability down some, not a whole lot, but some. Now, I got to give y'all the math to it because me explaining it might be a little confusing. So when you have your individuals that are self-employed, there is a self-employed tax, but you have to calculate it correctly or they will hold up the tax return if it's not calculated correctly. So I will make sure that y'all get the calculation for that one. I'm in the process of putting everybody's welcome boxes together. Everything has almost gotten here. And I'm almost done with the books so I can go take them to Staples and get them printed. So yeah, I've been working. So I'll just make sure that gets inside of the book before I print them all. Just so y'all can have that calculation and it's not a headache of trying to remember what the calculation is. I do not use this.
Isn't it like?
Say it again.
Isn't it like 15.3% or 1.53 or some crazy number like that?
15.7. Yeah. But you also got to turn around and do the Social Security and the Medicaid. So that's why I said I got to give y'all the math for that. So it's like you do the 15.7%, you subtract the 15.7% to get the amount that you need. Then you take that amount and multiply the percentage for the Medicaid, and then you turn around and take that amount and then multiply the percentage for the Social Security. And then you take those two numbers and add them up to come up with your main number. Yeah, it's a whole formula to it. But yeah, me personally, I do not touch this Schedule H. You might run across some people that will talk to you about a Schedule H. Schedule H's are very hot in the tax industry right now. Not touching it, not teaching it. Y'all can go search by yourself, but I'm not teaching you nothing about a Schedule H because it is it's not safe territory. Just letting y'all know. You do have your first time home buyer credit. I had a client, he came to me 3 different times. And both times the IRS, well, all 3 times the IRS had required for him to file this first time home buyer credit. Me and him could not understand on why we were still filing it if we filed it 2 years prior. But me and him also was not mad because we both still was getting paid that extra money that he was trying to give him. Like it was literally kicking his tax return back, asking for this home buyer's credit. So if y'all run across that, it is beneficial to them, but you might want to let them know to keep their paperwork because he had to find the paperwork all over again. Keep it handy because you might need it the following year if they stay your client. Let's see what other goodies we have on here. I have never done the low income housing credits. Don't have any farmers or fishermen. That's your investment income right there. But I haven't used this tab. I'll show y'all which one I usually use. That's in the under your deductions. All right. Itemized deductions. So here go your medical, dental, and vision. So you have your out-of-pocket expenses. Your premium for all 3 can be added here. The amount that you paid to the dentist and the doctor will go there. The prescriptions. If you have x-rays, lab work, there. If you had to be in-home or in-home care or care facility, you'll put your amount there. If you had to stay in the hospital and they charged you, you'll put that there. If you had to go to a rehab, that will go there. Anything?
Does that include with an HSA or an FSA account?
Say it again, baby.
Does it include if you pay for those things through an HSA or an FSA account?
Yes, it does include, because it's still coming out of pocket. Even though you are getting assistance with it, you can still claim what came out of your pocket. Then you have your medical aid. So you need a hearing aid, crutches, wheelchair, a ramp, a potty, things of those natures. And this was the travel expenses that I was explaining to you all that you can put here. For me, I was telling y'all about Juju. For me, this is where Juju goes. Juju goes here. He's my medical aid. So any expenses as far as his food, I write off his food, his toys, his bed, his hygiene products, when he goes to the doctor, his insurance premium that I pay every month, like all that can be wrote off come next year. And I put it right there because he is technically a medical aid. All right, so then you have your mortgage interest, which is here. This is if they're paying interest on their home. You'll go through all this part. I told y'all a 1099. It's a 1098, but it's a 1098. It got to be an INT. Yeah, got to be the INT. I told y'all 1099. That's my fault. Then it's right here where it says taxes you paid. You'll go in here. You have your real estate, that is non-business property. You have your personal property taxes. And it says this includes car registration, but not the amount paid for car tax. You can write off the registration, but not the tax. This right here, this will populate, this one anyway, this will populate with the W-2, which I don't understand why it didn't populate, because it's usually up here. But like I was saying, I had all our stuff that was in our last software transferred to my software. And when it got transferred, it didn't transfer right. So I'm fighting with them to get that fixed, but that's neither here nor there. When y'all get into the system, everything will be corrected. Your gifts and charity, this is your churches. So this is your cash gifts. So you go in, you put the charity, what kind of, why did you give them money? You can put gift, donation, the date that the money was given, and the amount. Then you have your non-cash. So you got miles, non-cash. They don't want it to go over 500. Don't ask me why. So then there is one, here we go. This one right here and this one right here. So this one will be more of if they donated some antique furniture and it's been appraised and they know how much it is, that will go there. This is for your vehicles, your boats. I don't know, nobody that's going to donate no airplane, but it's on it. So yeah, we talking about the IRS. They think out the box. This is your employee business expenses that we were talking about earlier. So if you had to pay for your uniform, moving expenses, vehicle expenses, things of that nature, you're there. This one right here is your state jobs. So these are our boys in blue, our correctional officers, those lovely people. And then right here, you have your gambling losses, your investment fees. So those are our other ones. And then these are the ones that we were talking about as far as like business uses, investments that are a little bit higher up than usual. But like it says, less common deductions. Most likely you're not going to click on there. So let me do this real quick. So say if we are looking for the earned income, no. So say if we're looking for the child care, the child daycare sheet. Like we want to put that information in, but we're not too sure where it's at. And we'll go over all this all over again. I'm just going through it because I'm mad at my own slide right now. So you'll just type in child care, and then it's going to pop up the different ones that could possibly be what you're looking for. So, we're looking for the child care and dependent expenses. So now it's going to take us straight to the sheet that we need. So I don't expect y'all to know where everything is at. I'll be crazy to do that because I don't know where everything is at. Because I'll ask you quick, what screen are you on? What are you doing? And what are we looking for? So you'll find everything that way. So say if you got a client that's a gambler, which I know I already showed y'all, and it's acting like it doesn't want to click. There you go. You can just type in gambling, and then they'll pull it up like that. So this is the actual form, and this is the form that it's going to go on, which is part of your itemized deduction. Y'all know I'm just rambling now. Trying to think. So we went over itemized. We went over that. Oh, earned income credit. Yeah. So earned income credit. So say the earned income credit sheet is supposed to automatically pop up when you get to the end. Sometimes it doesn't pop up, especially when you have single individuals. Sometimes it does not pop up. So an 8862 form is for an individual that has not been able to receive earned income credit or any type of credit for the last 5 years. And now they want to see if they are allowed to get their credit. You'll have to fill out that 8862 for them. And it will actually kick the return back if they need that 8862. But the one you want is the earned income credit checklist. Now, this is why it's very important to be familiar with your job form, because your job form does not ask these questions just like this, but it asks questions in order to give you the answers to these. So these are your due diligence questions, which determine if they are eligible for earned income tax credit or for a child tax credit. Depending on how this is answered, if they're eligible or not, if they get it or not. So you always want to make sure you do your due diligence questions in every return, because without it, you can't prove anything if they do not get their credit at the end of the day. I don't want to do it for real. All right. I can't think of nothing else. Do y'all have any questions for me? And I know it sucked this week. Y'all ain't got to do me like that. It's been a long, stressful week. Okay. I guess it won't that bad. Y'all don't have no questions for me. And don't wait until later to ask me no questions either. Don't jump in my inbox. Don't email me. Don't jump on my personal phone. All right. Well, I'm going to let y'all ladies go. Y'all ain't got no questions. And I'll send y'all this chopped up video, but I'll also send y'all the slides. So y'all can at least see the slides. But I'm gonna go in and fix them before I send them to y'all, so y'all have the right information. So give me until tomorrow to send them to y'all. I'll keep y'all posted. All right. Thanks, ladies. Have a good night.